And then it kind of mentioned that
okay.
he'd kept taking his ex-girlfriend with him, which I think has more to do with it than Bigfoot.
The old, I'm just taking my ex-girlfriend out camping to find Sasquatch.
It's a tale old as time.
Hello and welcome to Talk Spooky to Me, the Ghost Story Guys mail show. I'm Brennan Storr.
I'm Paul Bestel.
And this is our opportunity to hear from you, our audience. Paul Bestel, my friend, how you doing over there in rainy old England?
I'm very well, thank you. Warm and safe and dry, so we're okay.
And you have, is Strange Days this coming weekend?
Yes, it is. I shall be travelling down there tomorrow, and I shall be arriving at 5. I've already been recruited into the Fortean Times quiz team. So there's a quiz tomorrow night on the Friday, so we'll see how that goes.
That's so cool, man. I'm so excited for you. I cannot wait to hear how it goes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to finally meeting lots of people I've spoken to over the years in person for the first time. It's quite strange that a few of them I've met previously to doing the show.
Oh, okay.
And a couple of things I'd been to in the past, and then through the show I've got to speak to them. But yeah, it's a strange thing. So that's that. So I've just been finishing everything off today and tomorrow morning before I set off.
Very cool. Well, I was lucky enough, speaking of meeting people, I was lucky enough, I think it was not last weekend, but the weekend before that, to have dinner with two of our listeners.
Ooh.
Yeah, with Chris and Nikki from Montreal. The fine folks who they cooked me dinner in their house when I went back when I was living there, and they found themselves in Toronto for a conference, or convention rather. And so I drove into the city. Yeah, we had a lovely dinner. It was nice to catch up. Again, I always like talking to people who listen to the show, meeting up in person, and it's even better when it's someone who I've had a chance to meet before.
Absolutely. Oh, brilliant.
And this sort of presaged the next major event that's happening in my life, which is, you choose to live a certain way for a certain amount of time, there's going to be consequences. And Paul, for a long time now, I've let pigeons just live on my balcony.
Yeah.
Well, turns out it is absolutely encrusted with pigeon shit. To a gross degree. I will spare you fine folks the specifics of this, but I rest assured it is, pardon the pun, foul.
Hey.
It's so bad. And I went outside. I was saying, okay, let's get a measure of this thing. The summer was too hot to use the balcony anyways, because where my apartment faces, you just get the sun. There's no shade. So I thought, I'm not too worried about it. But now it's getting cooler out. I'd like to be able to go out there, smoke a joint, or just chill out, of a night. And I stepped outside to get a sense of what kind of cleaning job this is going to be. And my immediate response was, oh, this is the kind of cleaning job for which you hire someone else.
You're not going to Hamzat suit.
I know, you'd think I'd have one, right? So tomorrow I've got 2 people coming. It wasn't expensive as I was afraid it would be, but yeah, they're coming to scour it clean, and I will bid goodbye. Well, the thing is, it's not going to get rid of the pigeons, but at least it'll clean up, create a nice fresh runway for them to shit up again, and I could start chasing them off.
It would be the perfect time as well. If you want to murder somebody, you can just leave them outside and on the balcony, and then get rid of the body before the cleaners come, and they'll just get rid of all the evidence for you.
This is pigeon blood from all the pigeon fights that happen out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I know how bad it can be. There is a bridge around the corner from where I live, which is known as Pigeon Bridge to many of us. And essentially looks like one of those documentaries where people go to those islands where birds are just pooing everywhere and people are shoveling up the guano to sell it as fertilizer. It's a bit like that. So it adds up quickly, but I mean, there's hundreds of pigeons under there. So it's it's a bit of a trip.
I've got about a dozen right now that kind of come and go. There's a window just above my door to the patio, and they fight for who gets to sit up there. And then the other night, this is kind of when I realized, okay, this is silly. Aside, there was also when I went out to have a joint, and there was nowhere to stand because everything was covered in pigeon shit. But also, I started to record more of one of Ruth's audiobooks, and the pigeons just started fighting. It was 10 o'clock at night. I thought everything's nice and quiet. I've got time. My brain is cooperating. These Haunted Times volume, coo, and just war. just bird war happening right behind me. Like, all right, we're done here. We're done. However, we are not here to talk about the dire pigeon situation on my balcony. We're here to read listener mail.
Our courteous and efficient staff is on call 24 hours a day to serve all your supernatural elimination needs.
We're ready to believe you.
Our first message is from Alyssa, who says, I would pay so much money to watch you two play Thank Goodness You're Here. It would make my year to see that happen.
And Alyssa, thank you. I had never heard of this. Had you heard of this game, Paul?
I hadn't, but I've read all about it. And yes, it's based on the town where I was born.
Yes, yeah. The developers are from Barnsley, and it is set in the town of Barnsworth.
So yes, it sounds like very surreal, and you've got to go around doing errands for people, like helping somebody get their hand out of a grate and stuff, which, to be fair, is the kind of thing that you end up doing in Barnsley.
I might actually grab it. It's only it's on sale on the PlayStation Store here for I think it's like $17 or something. I might have to grab it and check it out.
Yeah, Matt Berry does some of the voices, doesn't he?
Oh, does he? I hadn't read that. That's cool.
Yeah, and the rest they've kind of put on. So if you ever want to hear what people from Barnsley really sound like when they've not become bilingual like me, then play that. Hey, oh, bad I doing thee? As that's in me pigeon.
Oh, Jesus. Hopefully it comes with subtitles. Alyssa, I will try this game and let you know what I think.
We'll know if you've been playing it, because you'll go, I'll say, how you doing, Brennan? You go, hey, up! How they doing? How they diddling, kid? Are they all right? Aye.
Oh, boy.
Sound as a pound, kid.
And then a bunch of locals just beat the ever-loving shit out of me. And I will deserve it.
Hang on about these, silly twat.
All right. Next up is from Ellis. Ellis says, I appreciate that you guys speak your mind about AI. Some of the paranormal podcasts I've listened to have casually talked about using AI in a way that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Also, while we're recommending games, please play Outer Wilds. You play as an alien archaeologist who's investigating a species of alien who's gone extinct. It's a beautiful space-based exploration game, and it's super meaningful. And Senia also recommends Claire Obscure Expedition 33. They say it's fantastic, one of the best games I've ever played, and I'm a lifelong gamer, born to a lifelong gamer, but be ready to weep. I have heard that about Claire Obscure. I haven't played it yet, but I really want to. Outer Wilds I'm not familiar with, but I will check it out. I'm not usually one for exploration games. I didn't really love What Remains of Edith Finch or The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, but I did really like Gone Home, which I thought was really beautiful. Have you played any of those, Paul?
No, unless I can shoot terrorists in the face. I don't usually play it.
A good and noble thing to want to do.
Yes. No, I haven't played stuff like that, to be fair. I tend to just play games on my PS. So I've never been a console gamer other than Football Manager, which is essentially computer-based crack. And I don't ever recommend that. I'm now 41 years into my addiction with that particular game.
I played recently one called Jacente. It's a French game. It's
I'm not playing that.
It's like a mountain climbing game. It's very like peaceful. I usually play games when I'm on the phone, or if I have a hard time sitting still when I'm on the phone, so I'll mop the floor, or sometimes I'll play games. So something like Jacente, where you're just kind of just trying to find a route up the mountain, is sort of an engaging, kind of calming way to do it. That said, someone sent me a copy of the Xbox game Evil West, which has been a ton of fun. It's like a third-person action horror game set in the Old West, like a version of the Old West. It's very silly, but it is fun.
Cool. No, I need to play more games, so any recommendations are always greatly appreciated from the hip people out there.
Absolutely. And just quickly on the AI thing, man, yeah, I don't like it. You can't uninvent something, right? So I'm not one of these people who's like, it should just go away forever. That's not how anything has ever worked in the history of things. So I don't think large language models are going to go away, but they're not ever going to be what these publications are trying to sell you that they're going to be, right? They're never going to be agents. They're never going to be able to do all these complex multi-step tasks for you. They're just not capable of doing that. And it's an enormously wasteful technology. Look into some of the server farms they've built, what they're doing to the surrounding communities. They keep trying to build one in, I think it's Phoenix or outside of Phoenix, that will have roughly the energy requirements of Phoenix, the city, again. It's grotesque. And yeah, I've got to be honest with you, there are folks in our industry, folks I know, some of them whom I otherwise respect, who are all in on that garbage for creative stuff. And I got to tell you, I don't have any respect for it. And again, I know that's unpopular, and I just don't care.
I was watching a documentary about AI the other week called Megan. Have you seen it?
I have, yeah. No, it's very realistic.
That's kind of, yeah. I once saw one about this robot called Hal as well. So, no.
The sad thing is, those are actually best case scenarios. Like the guys like Mark Andreessen and Sam Altman and who's a fucking guy who does it doesn't matter, Mario Amadei or Dario Amadei. It doesn't fucking matter. The guy at Anthropic. These guys would literally cream their jeans if they got anything even close to those results, but they can't, because this thing can't actually think, right? It can't think. It cannot do that. It's not a thing it can do. No. You remember those old, they called them mechanical Turks?
Yes.
That's what AI is. AI is a mechanical Turk. If you don't understand how the illusion is made, it looks like it's alive. If you want to actually know what's going on with AI, look up Ed Zitron, Better Offline. He's a really good critic on AI. 404 Media has done a lot of great reporting. Casey Gagawa has done some good reporting. The problem with AI journalism is that a lot of folks, and this is a problem with a lot of journalism right now, they're just repeating shit that they're told by the companies making it, right? So they'll be like, oh, we threatened to shut down this one AI and it begged us not to. It begged us not to kill it. And they'll just publish that like it's real, but it's not. Because if you actually look into what happened, this is a thing that happened. They prompted it to behave that way. It's not alive. It doesn't think. It is not a human being. We like to anthropomorphize things because it's just what we do. And if you use AI, I know we had a few emails from people giving me shit for what I said about AI. It doesn't matter. Keep it to yourself. If I understand there are accessibility things that it makes it useful, great. Like I said, I don't think it's a useless technology, but it is not what people say it is. It isn't, right? In its current incarnation, it's enormously wasteful. And again, if you use it, just don't tell me. Just don't tell me. Again, there are people I otherwise respect who know better than to talk about it with me, because I will tell them what I think of what they're doing with it. And there are some people I've distanced myself from now because they've gone full just giant AI boner, and I refuse to encourage that kind of behavior.
We should treat these people like Malcolm McDowell in A Clockwork Orange and make them watch Upgrade with their eyes taped open.
You know what? If they don't appreciate Upgrade, they shouldn't be allowed to watch Upgrade.
I agree.
A great film.
It's even better the second time when you've forgotten what happened in the end, the first time you watched it.
That's a bleak-ass ending to...
Whew. That's probably why I blanked it out of my head.
That'll do it.
I think. That's my excuse, anyway.
Watch Upgrade, kids.
It's brilliant.
A quick one from Casey. Casey says, I love weird synchronizations. This is the second time... Sorry, this should have been Paul. Oh, well, I'll finish on it. Casey.
Carry on.
Casey says, love weird synchronizations. This is the second time this week I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream has come across my path. Cool. Again, the magic of Harlan Ellison, a bastard still from beyond the grave, still affecting our lives.
Indeed. Our next message is from Brennan, and Brennan writes to himself.
No. Just from Bren. It's on Spot. These are all on Spotify. I did not write this.
Okay. So this is from somebody else called Bren.
Fuck you.
The streamer you're thinking of is Queso, a genuine delight. Also, I don't really play, but my boyfriend does, and he has lost many, many hours to Elden Ring.
My boyfriend doesn't even play Elden Ring.
Don't want to know any more about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bren. Again, yeah, I just picked up Elden Ring again the other day to give it a spin, and it seems like a hell of a game. It's just a time investment, and again, I don't typically spend like big blocks of time on games, at least not in the summer. Once it's shittier outside and I feel more comfortable staying inside. I'll probably spend more time with it. Those, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, those are all comments from Spotify. And if you want to have us read your Spotify comment on the show, just listen to the show on Spotify, leave a comment, and if we can, we will. Next up, we have a handful of comments from YouTube.
Woo!
This first one comes from Larry Tail 3401. Larry says, great episode. Those pesky poltergeists are really something. I recall one called Jeff a Mongoose, the eighth wonder of the world, who claimed to be able to split the atom.
The man. Loved a biscuit. One of the greatest poltergeist cases of the 20th century, I would suggest. It's a fascinating case that Vori spent the rest of her life confirming. Vori Irving, the daughter, who never changed the story all the way up until the day she died. Visited by, Harry Price, Nanda Fodo. There's none of. I don't believe there's any part of the farmhouse left. I think it's been completely demolished because it wasn't quite as daft as it sounds, because the Isle of Man is not a big place, but it's in quite a remote part of the island. And it's not there anymore. But you can visit it, and there is a marker there that tells you where the farmhouse used to be.
And Larry also says, keep up the good work. I can't get enough of the non-ghost anecdotes. May I suggest a compilation of them? Anyway, best wishes.
And don't mention Jeff when you're doing a live presentation. He'll break your PowerPoint.
Oh, right.
That's my tip for today. Our next message is from They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, 1684. These two make me laugh so hard, and then I get to hear about people's paranormal stories. I love the podcast. Thank you, They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, 1684.
Yes, thank you very, very much. And Abominable Cat says something similar, says, I've been going through the old episodes at work. It makes me so happy to see the new ones. And Abominable Cat, thank you very much. Before we go for our ad break, I got to share something with you here, Paul. So Nick sent this to me a few minutes ago, or just before we started recording, I should say. So this is it's a CanLII publication, Canadian Legal Information Institute. This was filed January 17th of this year. This is, I believe, a petition for divorce, if I'm not mistaken. I don't totally understand exactly what's going on, but it sounds like someone's trying to get out of paying some money. So this is how they're doing it. In January 2016, the claimant had a slip and fall accident on some icy stairs outside a hotel in Sayward, BC. He was in that remote part of Vancouver Island on one of his many expeditions in search of Sasquatch, of whose existence...
that would come in.
Of whose existence he claims to be certain.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. Further down, the parties separated in around August 2020. The claimant's evidence was that this occurred mostly because the respondent did not want to move to Vancouver Island, as had been his plan for several years. The respondent told me it followed her discovery that, over the August 2020 long weekend, and without her knowledge or approval, the claimant and his ex-girlfriend had gone off on a camping trip together on Vancouver Island, once again on a Sasquatch finding excursion.
This actually made the news.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, because it was that bit. As soon as you said that, I thought, yeah, I've read this.
Oh.
It was in the news. It was somebody. I think somebody in Vancouver obviously wrote an article about guy gets divorced because of Bigfoot, and then it kind of mentioned that he'd kept taking his ex-girlfriend with him, which I think has more to do with it than Bigfoot.
I'm just taking my ex-girlfriend out to camping to find Sasquatch.
It's a tale old as time.
That's right. Oh, man.
I don't know what happened. I was reaching for a book, and then the next thing, we were in bed.
Yep.
With no clothes on. Just fell off.
We were in the woods searching for Sasquatch, something. We were on top of each other, super sweaty in a tent.
Using friction to keep warm. And the next thing, the poltergeist blew all his clothes off, and we had to hug together to stay warm.
You've clearly read some of my writing. I didn't realize you had access to my Wattpad account, but...
My love of Bigfoot erotica knows no bounds. really doesn't.
See, off air, I said to you, Paul, I said, I kind of wonder sometimes how people hear me describe different parts of my life and think, what the fuck is going on with that guy? And hearing that, that's just sort of how I imagine it sounds sometimes.
I have a friend like that. He used to I'd ring him up and say, oh, how's your weekend been? He said, well, can't remember, mate. I woke up Monday morning in a skip. What?
Oh, I think you told me about this guy.
Yeah, it's a Spider-Man guy.
Yep, that's him.
Yeah, Yeah, I went out for a drink Friday, woke up Monday morning and skip. Fucking what? Where have you been? Where have you been drinking, man? He once told me he woke up and he were in somebody's Volkswagen Beetle.
Oh.
He didn't know him. And they weren't in the car. He was just asleep on the back seat of this Volkswagen Beetle, 3 miles from his home. Great times.
My life's not that interesting.
Well, his would be, but he can never remember what he did. We get the beginning and the end, but we don't get the middle. We don't get the meat. Just get the bookends.
Somewhere out there's a police report with assailant unknown written on it.
Spring Hill Jack strikes again.
Exactly.
Spring Hill Dan.
Well, while you go to ghoststoryguys.com to get your Spring Hill Dan t-shirt, we're going to take a quick break for some ads. And we're back. First up is from Trent, and now this is in response to a patron bonus, but the thrust of it is going to make sense whether you know the episode or not. The episode was about haunted Airbnbs, and if you want to hear me talking about haunted Airbnbs, follow the link in the show notes or head to patreon.com/ghoststoryguys. Again, that's patreon.com/ghoststoryguys. Bonus episodes start at $5 a month and up. So again, Trent says, I stayed at a B&B in Red Lodge, Montana. While I was laying in bed, I kept hearing somebody knocking on the wall when there was no adjoining room. Before this happened, I was getting a really creepy vibe like I shouldn't be there. It could have been nothing, but I've never been unsettled by a house like that in my life until that point. And Paul, it sounds like you know something about this.
Not necessarily this, but I know Red Lodge is famous for a ghost monkey in a hotel there. There's allegedly a ghost monkey runs about being a little shit. In one of the hotels there.
Interesting. Trent, I would love to, well, I guess you said B&B, so I guess it wouldn't have been a hotel, but how odd that, okay. Maybe the ghost monkey was just Ken Allen.
Hey, mate, is that fucking Otis in there? Kick his fucking head in.
And this is going to make a lot more sense if you've just listened to the previous episode of Talk Spooky. Now Ken Allen has escaped life and is just going everywhere and fucking with everything.
It's beginning to make sense. We're all just playthings in Ken Allen's world.
Oh, man. Ken Allen is like Q in Star Trek The Next Generation.
You've got it. Ken Allen's set.
So I'm getting ook,
banana.
Banana, fuck Otis.
Fucking Otis.
Fuck Otis, ook, banana.
Sounds like the librarian, well, ironically, the librarian in Terry Pratchett's book. The librarian uses the word ook a lot in the Terry Pratchett book.
That's definitely where I took that from. Yeah. I speaking of video games, man, and I've probably mentioned this on that show before, but that first Discworld adventure game with Eric Idle as Rincewind was a masterpiece.
That fucking luggage.
Yeah.
Wrote that whilst he was working for British Nuclear Energy.
Which one? The game or the book?
The first two books he wrote.
Oh, no
shit. He was working. Yeah, I think he worked at Sellafield, British nuclear power plant, and he worked there, and obviously released The Colour of Magic, and was able to leave his job. I think by the time the second one was ready to go, he was off.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the rest is history. But yeah, I think was he 38 when he wrote that?
Oh, I didn't know he was. I didn't know. I know Terry. Like I know of Terry, and I love the books, but I don't know a lot about him personally.
Mature for a debut author. Yeah, so after various positions in journalism, in 1979, Pratchett became the press officer for the southwest region of Central Electricity Generating Board in an area that contained 3 nuclear power stations. He later joked that he had demonstrated impeccable timing by making this career change so soon after the 3 Mile Island disaster in Pennsylvania. The first Discworld novel, The Colour of Magic, was published in hardback by Colin Smith Limited in 1983. So, yeah, he was 35.
Oh, that's awesome.
When his first book came out. Well, his first proper book, because he had a book published in the early 70s, The Carpet People, I think it was, but didn't really do much. And so he just carried on doing normal stuff. But yeah, The Colour of Magic was the one that blew him up. And like I say, yeah, he was 35. I
haven't read them in years, but I adore the Discworld books. I'm especially fond of the books about the Watchmaster Vimes. Or Master of the Watch or whatever. Sam Vimes. He is so... I love those books.
Yeah, I always like Death.
Oh, Death's brilliant. Absolutely.
Soul music's probably my favourite.
Which one is soul music?
It's about music with rocks in. It's about the band. It's basically a book about the music industry, but it's set in Discworld.
Oh, okay.
And they don't invent rock and roll, they invent music with rocks in.
Oh.
And it's like a band with like an elf and a troll's a drummer and all that. I'm sure it's been a while since I've read it, but that was the one that hooked me.
Oh, okay.
Because I got into Pratchett quite late because my cousin kept telling me they were brilliant, so obviously I ignored them.
Naturally.
Because I just thought, yeah, I bet they are. If you like some right shit music, mate, I bet your books are even worse. I can't remember which one it was, but I met someone and they just kept going on and on about Pratchett, and just kept saying you'd absolutely love it if you like Lord of the Rings and you've got a sense of humour and you like Monty Python. Basically, Discworld is Lord of the Rings meets Monty Python. I thought, is it? And so I gave it a go, and I think within 3 months I'd got the first 12. I was hooked straight away, but soul music was the one. Never took to the Witches. I have to say, I'm not a fan of Granny Weatherwax or whatever her name is. I never took to them. The rest of them I quite liked, but I never liked the Witches.
Yeah, no, I'm there with you. Not a big fan of the Witches. Death was a big one. Reaper Man, when he takes a vacation, or he decides to and all the other deaths kind of start propagating. Like there's like rat death and cow death, and oh man, just again, folks, if you are at all, if you like funny books, if you like, but also with books with great stories with a lot of heart and a high fantasy setting, and you haven't read Discworld, you are missing out. There we go. Paul is holding up Guards, and Monstrous Regiment.
My Pratchett pile is how many have I got? I think I've got 40.
Holy shit.
Lisa writes, our Airbnb was in Rye, New Hampshire, which was a very old 2-story place about half a mile from the shore. We were in a girls' trip with my 4 sisters. The place had a really creepy vibe, and I didn't think about that. But now when I'm considering, I just thought it was an old place, but of course it should feel creepy. When we were sleeping the night before we left, every one of us heard what sounded like an entire box of china dishes being dropped in the attic right above where we were sleeping. We all woke up and we were like, okay, has that just happened? We all tried to get back to sleep, but we left the next day, and I will never forget that sound. There's always that sound in certain sounds in hauntings, isn't there, where you hear a noise that's so incredibly loud you don't understand why either other people haven't heard it or nothing is just smashed to pieces.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. The number of times we've heard that is incredible. It does make you wonder, because I know sometimes there are prosaic explanations. You know, like I've had that happen here where I'm recording something and I'll all of a sudden crash and I can't seem to find what it is. And then I really dial in and I think, oh, the strainer has fallen into the sink or something. And just there was something in there that kind of bounced off of to make that sound. But I think that, or something similarly small, right? But it makes a larger sound than you think. But then there's other things that there is no analog and they're much louder than you could possibly expect.
Intriguing. Maybe it's just the dimensions popping.
There you go. The dimensions, like my knees, sometimes make a lot of noise when they get up to stretch.
Don't they all?
So thank you, Lisa. And this is from Casey, and this is a different Casey than earlier. I've just listened to your latest Talk Spooky to Me, Corey Hart's Interstellar Adventure, and Paul mentioned balls of light in the sky. I remembered a time when I was a little kid in the late 80s, this would be in Cape Town, South Africa. I would look forward to bedtime so I could look out of my window at what I called the parachute people. Basically, it was small balls of light really high up that would move around in a tight pattern, sometimes going slow, sometimes zipping around, but always staying close together. The balls would slowly change from red to blue to green to yellow to white. The only explanation in my 5-year-old head was, oh, those must be parachuters with torches, and they have some sort of color-coded filters. This happened for a few nights and then just stopped. No idea what that was and have never seen anything like it again, but haven't stopped looking at the sky since. Absolutely love the show. You guys are amazing. And then Casey says, P.S. I would love to pick your brains on a cryptid matter. I've only recently started getting interested in the subject, so I don't know a lot. Have you heard of any weird creatures on my side? We have a lot of cool African mythology, but I feel like my experience, which I'll detail in another email, doesn't really fit in with anything in that scope. So, Paul, that's definitely more your wheelhouse than mine. Are you familiar with any South African lore?
Groot slang. It's a giant snake that is supposed to live in South Africa.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
A man-eating giant snake called Grootslang. There are a lot, but I'm not. Other than that's the one that's come straight to my mind, which is Grootslang. They do have a Bigfoot out there, but I can't remember what it's called. I know a lot of people tend to focus on the Tokoloshi more than anything, which is essentially an African, because it's not just in South Africa. I think it's reported in places like Zimbabwe, Mozambique, a lot of the southern areas more than the northern and eastern and western coasts. It tends to be a more south end of Africa's thing, Tokoloshis, and they're basically like, I don't know, you could say it was like a little troll, little person, fairy type thing. It's a mischievous trickster.
Oh, okay. Like a duende type thing, or smaller than that?
It's a little bit bigger than that. So it's like you would consider a small troll, like the traditional trolls around 3 feet tall.
Right.
So around that size. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Anyway, the snake is the one that always springs to mind, because you wouldn't be surprised to come across, and obviously the most famous picture of a giant snake ever taken was in Africa, above the Congo in the 1950s, which is a legendary photo, which you can find on the internet and you can discuss it as much as you can, but it was analysed by Kodak, and the guy that took it was a very, very important member of the European military. I think he ended up working as a secretary for NATO at one point. He was like the head of the Belgian Air Force, and he's the guy that took the picture of the giant snake. He was flying in a helicopter, I think it was in Ghana, and he saw this enormous snake on the ground, and as he flew down lower to get it, the snake rose up and tried to bite him, and he thinks it was between 50 and 60 feet long.
Holy Christ.
So if you look at the picture, you can make your own mind up.
I assume this is something I can find online.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you just Google Remy, I've forgotten his bloody name, Remy Van Laden, Remy something. Put Remy giant snake, you'll find the picture.
Remy Van Leerd.
That's him.
Interesting. I mean, it's hard to get the scale of the photo.
Well, he says he was about 200 feet above that.
Jesus Christ. So this is from verdadufo.com.br, so I'm assuming that's Brazil. This is a translation from Portuguese. So it says, at Camina Air Force Base, or at Camina Air Base in Belgian-occupied Congo, Remy Van Leerd, a colonel in the Belgian Air Force in 1959, reported seeing a giant snake in the Congo while flying over forests in the Katanga region while returning from a mission. Although it is popularly known as the 100-foot Congo snake, Colonel Van Leerd's account presents a more realistic perspective on its dimensions. He described the snake as being approximately 50 feet long, with a triangular head that measured 2 feet wide by 3 feet long. If his estimate is accurate, this enigmatic creature would place among the largest snakes that ever inhabited our planet. Let's just think about that for a second. Among the largest snakes.
Yep, allegedly.
Sweet Jesus.
Yep, it's a biggie. He became the Deputy Chief of Staff to the Ministry of Defence in 1954, 1959 as a colonel. He returned to Belgium. So when he took that picture, he was a colonel in the Belgian Air Force.
Well, Casey, we would love to hear the experience that you're talking about. I don't think we've got that email yet. So yeah, please do share. Very, very curious. We've had a few stories from South Africa, but we have not had a ton of them, and we would love to get more.
Absolutely. And if you send us an email in, I'll dig in and find some more. I'm not sure if Trunco happened off the coast of South Africa.
Trunco
was allegedly a sea monster that dozens of witnesses watched have a fight to the death with 2 sperm whales off the coast of South Africa, I think.
Jesus Christ.
About 100 years ago. I think that was Trunco. So that's a sea monster there as well. So I've given you a sea monster, a giant snake, a troll, and a picture of a giant snake there. That's the best I can do off the top of my head for South Africa and Africa.
7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. I'm kidding. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. No one else can do what Paul Bessel can do.
Yeah. But I'm not sure about Trunco. Just so don't quote me on that. But I'm sure that was off the coast of. I'm not sure if it was South Africa. It might have been Ethiopia, but it was in that region. Back
when I worked at the ferry boat, I used to have to deal with the U.S. Customs guys, one of whom was named Chunko. And so when you said the name, I was very confused for a second, because I'm like, no, the guy I know is this big, burly Chinese guy with kind of a bad attitude. And it wouldn't surprise me if he could kick the shit out of whales.
So, next is from our good friend Yana, who says, you go outside and the lighting is off. It's giving off ominous. You're a photographer of liminal spaces and unique lighting and wondering if this is a thing. I've not noticed this reaction before. With the slight amount of smoke haze, it's like late September lighting and shadows, and it's making me feel very uneasy. I'm at that age now where I ask myself, is it the perimenopause, early onset dementia, or late in life unmasking? Lol. Anybody else? Or is it just me? Haha! Anyway, I hope you're well, Brennan. Also, don't be scared of my John Favreau voicemails at the end of Swingers voice notes on Insta. All the best, Yana.
I am never afraid of voice notes, Yana. I get a lot of DMs on Instagram on my personal account and on
thirst trap.
I've only had one of those recently, and it was not on my personal account.
Was it from Bren?
It was. He's a handsome guy. What can I say? His boyfriend's got great taste in video games, though.
He's lost a Elder's Ring.
I've just lost track of all my alt accounts now.
You start doxing yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like Johnny Depp in Secret Window. It's just everything is falling apart.
Did you see that case? Strangely enough, talking about that. See that case of that girl who went to the police and they investigated this online harassment she was getting for like 15 months, and they ended up tracing it back, and it's her mum.
No.
Yeah, it was in the news last week, I think.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, another great advert for social media.
Oh man, I've said before, we're gonna if we can keep our shit together long enough to look back at this era and have learned some lessons from it, we're gonna think, what the fuck were we doing with social media? What a terrible idea.
That's if Queen Meghan and King Hal let us.
But yeah, so yeah, no, I'm never afraid of the messages. I multiple people send me multiple voice notes, and I don't get to all of them in a timely fashion. So it's not just you, if that helps. It is not just you. Because a lot of people have realized that with the Ghost Ray Guys account the way it is, I don't see all the messages. Like, because people always send me memes and reels, and it's wonderful. You know, I appreciate it. But I quite often don't, like, it takes me a while to get to everyone. And so people have started sending them to my personal account because they know that the other one is inundated. So now consequently my personal account is inundated with memes and reels and shit. And so it's like, again, very much appreciated. It takes me time to read all these things. I look at the number up in the corner of the Instagram thing, and my brain just goes, not today, not today. And then tomorrow it gets higher, and it's like, oh, not today either.
Yeah, I'm like that with one of my email accounts. I'll log in like once a week and I'll go, right, 361 emails. Right, I'll get rid of 5. I'll do some more tomorrow. And then there's 900.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the what you're talking about, Yana, yeah, no, I've definitely heard this, the sensitivity to lighting. I mean, late diagnosis neurodivergence, that is part of it. Sensitivity to lighting is a big part of that. But I have noticed as well with the fire smoke and the way it changes the lighting, it really has produced, especially, it's better here now, but we went through a period of about 2 weeks where the fire smoke was intense. Like, you can't go for walks outside for long periods because it's actually really not great for you, kind of intense. And it does seem to make everyone low-key anxious and agitated. And I think it's a natural, like a deeply ingrained crisis response.
Yes, absolutely. Muscle memory.
Yeah.
Like fear of the dark and yawning.
You know, we've talked about wildfires on here, and, you know, we've talked about, like, on the Instagram, I've put up some stuff, and everyone says, well, wildfires are natural. They happen, you know, it's only since whatever. It's like, yeah, no, they're natural, 100%. Wildfire's been happening since, you know, there was wild and there was fucking fire, but it's always been a fucking danger. Like, it doesn't matter if it's part of the natural cycle, you know, it can still burn your ass if you're caught in it. And so I think it's natural to feel alarmed. You know, again, what you do with that's down to you, but to have that sort of anxious, like, oh Christ, the sky is on fire, I think that's a normal reaction.
Yeah, they're dangerous wherever they happen.
Yeah. I've been so lucky in my life that I've never really been impacted by it. You know, like I've lived in places where the sky has gone orange, or I was thankfully never red, but orange, and it's scary. But I've never lost a home. The people I love have never lost a home. You know, so I've been very fortunate that way.
It's not good.
Nope. Don't fuck around with fire.
Especially don't accidentally set a tree on fire when you're a kid.
This sounds like this is an English thing, because Nick and her brother once accidentally set the fence on fire.
You've got to be careful. You just don't know how combustible things are sometimes, and you might just accidentally set things on fire and the fire brigade come.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't understand how fire and wood could create more fire on that wood.
Molten plastic's really hot as well.
That's what I'm told.
Really hurts if it lands on your hand.
Jesus Christ.
What I read on Wikipedia.
Nick and her brother, it was also hot plastic that helped catch the fence on fire. Our last message comes from Patty. Patty says, "Hi, Brennan and Paul. This is my first time writing to you, but I've been listening for about a year and a half. Love your podcast. In between your new releases, I'm listening to your backlog, and I'm up to episode 130. An episode or two prior to that, you talked about the creepy things kids say, and I wanted to tell you about a couple of stories. These happened when I was around 12 to 15 years old."
Sleep well, everyone.
First, the youngest boy of a family friend, the boy was about 2 at the time, started calling my mom Fouetteau. I've just spelled it phonetically. It just came out of the blue, and we never figured out where he got that or what it meant. Neither of my mom's first or last names sound anything like that, and most people called her by a last name, as in sister. Very religious family. Yes, the boy was quite young, but exceptionally verbal and intelligent. We tried on several occasions to ask him why he called her Fouetteau, but he just said matter-of-factly that was her name. We asked, what does it mean? Again, that's her name. I recently tried Googling it, but couldn't find anything useful. So weird. The second weird kid was my niece. When she was 3 or 4 years old, she'd ask me where she was when something happened. For example, we, my siblings and I, would be reminiscing about a camping trip when we were kids or some other event from our childhood. She'd ask my sister, "Where was I born? Where was I, Mommy?" Of course, my sister would answer, "You weren't born yet, mija." My niece immediately burst into tears and insisted, "She was born yet." And that's exactly what she'd say, "I was born yet. I was born yet." Her reaction was so dramatic, tearful, and extreme. It would take a few minutes of consoling her before she'd start calming down. It was shocking and weird. It happened several times. She also used to say things like, "I remember when I worked there," referring to some business we saw. Or, "I remember when I was a mommy." At the time, I just thought these were weird kids. But now that I'm older and I've learned so much outside the narrow views of my Christian upbringing, I think maybe reincarnation is real. Maybe there are glimpses into past lives, or maybe parallel lives. Thanks for your podcast and for listening. Patty. After my sister's childhood nickname for me turned out to be the Sumerian word for slave, nothing surprises.
Go, sir.
Shubar. Shubar. She started calling me Shubar out of nowhere. When she was little, she would point at me and Shubar. And everyone's like, "Oh, she must not be able to say Brennan," or maybe she's saying brother, or, maybe she's talking about Babar the elephant from TV. But she called me Shubar, brother Shubar, and that became a running joke when I was a kid. And then a couple of years ago, I Googled it just for laughs, and it's like, oh yeah, no, that's a Sumerian word for slave. And I've always had an interest in Sumeria when I was a kid, which I think is kind of fascinating, not knowing that. So Sarah, if you're listening, that shit's scary.
I'm intrigued by that term. It does ring a bell in something. I might be thinking of something similar that's not exactly the same, but that is a very weird name to just conjure up. Plateau.
I do think there's something to this. I just think it's too far outside the current paradigm for us to really engage with, I think, like meaningfully in a scientific way.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a consensus either.
How do you mean?
Some of it's tied to imaginary friends. Some of it's tied to people they talk to in the wall, on the ceiling, or under their bed, or wherever. Others are memories that they can't possibly have, which would suggest reincarnation. So there's a lot of things going on with it. Some of these kids. I mean, some of it is, imaginary play, but there are some that are deeply disturbing.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to try and find a bunch of those stories and do a whole show just of creepy shit kids have said.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Well, Patty, Thank you so much. Thank you. We're happy to have you on board. Thank you for sharing. If you do hear any more or figure out what Fouatteau could refer to, or listeners, if you are familiar with that word and understand its origin or know where it may come from, let us know. ghoststoryguys@gmail.com. And as I say, we're going to draw a line under it there, but thank you to everyone who sent us your comments, your questions on, again, Spotify, YouTube, email. We try to get a little bit from everywhere if we can. We read everything you send, everything you comment, good or bad. Yeah, we see you. And we appreciate it. No, okay, Paul doesn't. I see everything because I can't help but reading everything. But
I see what I want to see.
Hey, that's a good way to live. Paul, my friend, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me as Mysteries and Monsters across most social media networks and all podcast sites.
Fabulous. I'm Largely the Truth on Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. And you'll find my horror fiction show, Fear Daily, everywhere fine podcasts live. Of course, we are The Ghost Story Guys on Instagram. We are The Ghost Story Guys, finally made a group on Facebook. We are r/Ghost Story Guys podcast on Reddit. You can pick up merch and send us messages at ghoststoryguys.com. And of course, it would hardly be an episode of Talk Spooky without a tune.
Yay!
This time around, I'm pleased to present the latest release from Cool Parents. They are a punk band. I'm not sure where they're from. This comes to us via our friends over at Cryptid Cocktail Party, but the song is Midsummer Scream, and it is off Cool Parents' upcoming record, Ultra Terrestrial, coming October 3rd, 2025. So again, this is Cool Parents with Midsummer Scream. If you like what you hear, click the link in the show notes or search for Cool Parents wherever you stream your music. Thanks as always, folks. We will see you next week for episode 223. But until then, we will leave you with Cool Parents and Midsummer Scream.